Hello, fellow YouTubers. This is the Imaginator. I'm here today to bring you guys, ladies, my One Piece Manga Chapter 1052 review. The title of this One Piece Manga Chapter is called A New Morning. The cover story of German 66 is appearing to have Reiju and Ichiji and Caesar Clown surprisingly present. It's pretty much the same location as it was in the previous cover story chapter. And then the chapter begins with the Gorosei at the scene of Sacred Mary Joa. I'll talk about Nika has finally descended upon the world, and then they talk about they get contact with with the Marines about Zunisha, and the Marines informed that Zunisha has disappeared, and that they are sending the Cyclopole Zero to capture Robin. And then the narrator goes on to say it's been finally 20 long years of tyranny with animal king pirates. The land Wano is finally free. And then there is then there's a X Drake and Visa Hawkins conversation. And they mainly talk about, the surviving, the certain man that that had 1% survival rate, 1 chance survival throughout the entire war. And it turns out that it was actually Hawkins that he was referring to himself. And then the next panel after that whole section is pretty much the students are wondering where's their previous teacher, who was a snake lady by the name of Sherry Hebby, if I pronounced that right. And then their newest teacher said, "No, forget about her. I'm going to re-educate you kids." And he pretty much goes on to say, "You're going to learn more about the history of Kazuki Oden, the history and story of Kazuki Oden." Then there's the citizens of Wano actually figuring out everything that's happened. The secret behind things, that Kirishiro was actually Danjiro, one of the 9 scabbards, and that Kuromasaki, who was believed by many, or who was perceived to be the most beautiful lady in Wano, was actually Kazuki Oden's daughter. And then there is the next portion of the chapter where we have Kinemon, Marco, and Kamawatsu. They're at the Rengu area where Ryoma's blade has been placed, and where Ryoma's been buried. I believe that's Ryoma's buried place. And they pretty much talk about that, finally the land of Wano is finally safe. And Kinemon just goes about saying, "Well, I can't believe us, the heroes that sacrificed themselves to ensure the battle was won, are now dead." And then we see the weapons of Ashura and Izo. Then we get to finally the Straw Hats, where we see Kuromasaki at first kicking Momonosuke as an adult now. And the Yamato is pretty much saying she's hungry, and she hears that Luffy and Zoro are finally awake, and the first thing that comes out of Luffy's mouth when he's awake is meat, and Zoro says bows. And they pretty much everybody that was right air is happy. Like Momonosuke, Yamato is happy that Luffy and Zoro are awake. And then they pretty much chat like normal and have a party and drink and feast and that. And Yamato said that she hasn't bathed in like every day or hadn't eaten anything, and she was waiting until Luffy and Zoro got up. And Luffy said that was nice of her, and Jimmy goes on saying she's like, you're a nice person. And then Nami tells Yamato that, hey, join us in the bath. And Yamato's like, this area in Wano doesn't have a mixed bathroom, which apparently later on it does. Where we have, and then we see the bath of the men's bath and the women's bath. You see the men all celebrating, well, plus Yamato, and and the women's bath, they're celebrating, they're doing their own thing in there. And at the end of the chapter now, we see, well, almost at the end of the chapter, Kid, Law, they're not celebrating, they're still kind of pretty much taking things seriously now that after the big battle is over and they went against the Yonko. they're still pretty much thinking about their enemies, and that hey, our enemies can't we can't see what's going on their side, but the enemies can also see what's going on our side due to the fact that due to the fact that Wano's border is kind of closed, so they can't see what. So the people in the outside world can't really tell what's going on at Wano, and the people at Wano can't tell what's going on in the outside world, outside Wano. And then we have Apu giving out the leaked news about the 4 new emperors that have just been recently announced to the world. And then we have a mysterious character talking to Akinu or Sakazuki, and Sakazuki, or I say Akinu, is telling him, "Hey, don't make sure you don't cause too much trouble." And he's like, "All right, sure, fine, I won't." And that's the end of the chapter. My thoughts overall of this chapter, I thought it was a good and relaxing, cheerful chapter. Obviously, after the big battle has been won by the heroes, by the Alliance, or I think it's called the Ninja Pirate Samurai Manga Alliance, if I pronounced accurately. And I like how everybody's now pretty much finding out the secrets of things that have been going on, the conclusion of things, and everybody's just having a great and wonderful time. And it's well deserved due to the fact that they were battling for their lives to save the country. And we get like a lot of talking between characters and certain things that happen within the arc, and also other things related to like what's coming up in the future. And yeah, I think I do like so CP9 is still after Robin. So I mean that's kind of still smelling trouble for Robin and Straw Hats. And the girls say finding out that Zudisha is not opening the borders. Again, it's kind of shocking to them. So they're still left to come with that. And after knowing this, they probably will do their best to prevent that from happening. And I like the funny part where Yamato said it's not a mixed bathroom, which it kind of was, because she's still kind of seeing herself as a male Odin, even though many of us know that Yamato's a female, but she perceives herself as Odin, so she views herself as a male. She's not really a male; she's a female. Oni. And I do believe, and the link of the information is about to come out, and this mysterious character, who we can safely assume is with the Marines because he's talking to Akinu. He wouldn't talk to Akinu if he wasn't part of the Marines otherwise. And yes, so I like this balance of very peace ending scenario along with some still foreshadowing for more to come. Like everything's peaceful for Wano, but there's more stuff that's going to be coming ahead in the future after Wano. So I like that balance too. One thing too, and the students finally getting to have some real education. I think that's pretty nice. They don't have to follow a teacher with dangerous and twisted ideology that make them learn or view things differently than what the country actually represents. So that's also a plus, because later down the road when they get older, they'll be able to apprehend, the history, the legit history of what happened with their country, and be able to use that information and knowledge to help continue to make the country a better place and a peaceful place as time progresses for the next generation after them. So I'm pretty glad that the kids are getting the right education now. All right, so that's it. That's my thoughts. One Piece. My thoughts on One Piece Manga 1052. That's my review of this chapter. Hope you like the video, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to my channel, The Imagining, for more manga reviews, anime discussions, and many more. With all that being said, fellow YouTubers, y'all all have a wonderful day.